Hello, everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of That Star Trek Podcast, your place for a detailed analysis and speculation of all things Trek. My name is Sean Ray, and the Klingon blood runs just as reddish pink as ever. Joining me tonight on the show, we have Rick. How are you, sir?
Avoid death and cower.
Which Star Trek race did Ronald Reagan say reminded him of Congress?
Ferengi?
No, it was. Does anybody else know?
Mm-mm.
It was the Klingons. He
There is no honor in Congress.
He toured the set of Redemption in 1991 after his presidency was over, and he remarked of the Klingons that they reminded him of Congress. So,
all right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Jen is here as well. How are you?
Nanu.
Who was originally cast as Captain Janeway?
Genevieve Bouget. Bougeot. Yeah.
That is correct. And Scott is here as well. How are you, sir?
Is that a type of emotional outburst that brought on this punishment?
What race is essentially a species of intelligent turtles?
Essentially a species of intelligent turtles. The first thing that comes to mind is saurians.
Nope.
But they don't have shells as far as I know.
It's the Rigelians. According to Dr. Phlox, he said that they were a species of intelligent turtles. I don't think we ever actually saw them.
No, I can guarantee we didn't.
All right. Before we get into tonight's episode, we have to talk a little bit about the Star Trek Discovery trailer that dropped today at New York Comic-Con. The arrival of a sinister new threat, a seemingly unstoppable planet-destroying anomaly that intends to devastate the galaxy, whether they're part of the Federation or not, is going to put our newest Star Trek captain up to her greatest challenge yet, fighting for a future for all, and not just her friends and family under the Federation flag. There's a lot of F's in that sentence. What'd you guys think of the trailer, Rick?
Sweet.
Sweet.
Sean, what was the first sentence of that description again?
What was the first sentence? It was all one sentence.
Okay, well, what was it? Start reading it again.
The arrival of a sinister new threat, a seemingly unstoppable.
That's good. Can an anomaly really be sinister?
I didn't write this.
Also,
I swiped it from online.
Can it have intent to destroy, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, they may not realize it's.
It could. If it's anomaly, just means that they don't know what it is.
They're really leaning into anthropomorphizing this anomaly and making it a villain. When this could be Star Trek Discovery season 4, the final climate change. or the undiscovered climate change. That could be what they're angling for this season, but the people writing up these descriptions are going to be leaning into it's the enemy. It's an evil enemy they have to fight, which I find that to be a little bit silly, but I might just be nitpicking. Rick, you were talking about your feelings. You said it was sweet. Continue.
To be honest, I only watched it once. So I just, all I have is the impression that it was great. Yes, they called it anomaly. They say it's 5 light years across, but I don't know that really gives us any real insight into what it is. So I think anomaly versus creature, I think either guess is valid at this point.
I like the uniforms. The uniforms kind of look like a new version of the Maroon Monster.
Well, they were going for recapturing the original color scheme, and they also had to hide Soneqa's pregnancy. So
yeah, that's true.
Or not hide, but I guess hide. Yeah,
that was last season. They were hiding her pregnancy, but when they were, did she get pregnant again?
No, but that's still why the uniforms are not as skin tight as they usually are.
She might not have gone back to her original form, pre-baby form or whatever. But yeah, the uniforms at the end of last season were gray. The ones I saw were red. Were there different colors? I only saw the red ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the helm was wearing yellow.
Yeah, they're going back
to was wearing yellow.
They're going back to division colors for the full jacket. And neutral accents, gray or black for the vertical bar and the chest, and for the accoutrements on the collar, those are all going to be like black and gray. But Burnham is wearing red, Saru is wearing red, Kayla is wearing gold, and I think medical staff like Hugh, I think they're still wearing white.
They're still in white, yeah.
Yeah. Paul was wearing blue. So
Scott, what'd you think?
You already asked him.
Did I ask him? I asked you.
No, I rudely interrupted so I could complain about the verbiage in the description. Overall, I like it. I always like trailers for new Star Trek because it gets me excited for what's to come. Lots of different costumes and uniform styles shown in this trailer. You get the duty uniforms where everyone has their division colors. You get like 3 different variations of some like black field uniforms. And at one point, Michael is on the bridge in a really snazzy leather jacket style uniform with Delta on it and everything. So lots of different outfits that people are going through. And our first look at it's hard to say Discovery era, because now the Discovery era covers not just earlier 23rd century, but also 32nd century. So we just have to refer to the Discovery era of special effects and makeup effects when we say we finally have our first look at a Discovery style Ferengi.
And
yeah,
boy, do I want to slap some people. I actually lost my cool a little bit on one of the Facebook groups where I told somebody, because again, you see one still picture, and this guy's like, "Oh, it's terrible. Why are they changing our?" And I just lost it. And I said, you know what? If you can't cope with the fact that they have changed literally everything in every iteration of Star Trek, cut your cable, short circuit your router, and just go watch your DVDs and shut the hell up.
I didn't see that they had changed anything. What was different?
Their ears are kind of squiggly.
Their ears are different.
Well,
yeah.
he was wrinkly, but I thought that was just because he was old. Because old Ferengi, I mean,
there's
they
no
always
knowing
look like that.
what's the deal with it. But I mean, they have changed the look of literally everything in every iteration of Star Trek.
Mhm.
And I don't know why people still freak out about it.
I already made my case about the Klingons and how they look all different, but that's in the past now.
Yeah. And with this, with seeing a Ferengi now, we should probably take into account the fact that the Ferengi that we saw is what 800 years removed from the Ferengi that we're used to. So they're probably going to look a little different. And even if that's not the case, we have more advanced makeup effects, just like Roddenberry used to say. And we'll move it to this situation. Oh, they changed how Ferengi look. You think if they were able to do makeup like this every day while shooting DS9, don't you think that Quark would have looked more like this? No, he looked like what they could do back then. This is what they can do now. So this Ferengi looks the way he does. Or who knows, maybe he's a cross between a Ferengi and a Klingon.
Maybe. Well, I mean, when they did Armin Shimmerman's makeup back in the day, they had to give him special ears because the original ears didn't fit because his ears are so big and stick out so much. So they had to give him special ear makeup for specifically his character when they were doing DS9. So he already doesn't look like an average Ferengi.
We also saw, now I'm not sure if the Vulcan, the woman from last season, she's back this season, and Saru seemed to have a connection with her. Is she Vulcan?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's another woman in the trailer, and I can't remember if she showed up last season.
I don't think so. She didn't look familiar. You're talking the one that was given, they were saluting each other.
I think so. I think they were doing the flag handoff, and she was, to my eye, a half human, half Cardassian redhead. I think she had red hair.
Jim, what do you think?
Well, I watched the trailer twice. Again, similar to Scott, I mainly was looking at the uniforms. And I'm liking that they're going that more to the color, the colors that we're used to with the red and the gold and everything. I was surprised there weren't more blue uniforms, but yeah, that jacket that Michael was wearing, I was like, oh, I want one.
That was pretty.
It was pretty sweet. Yeah. I mean, similar to, you remember that jacket that Picard wore in the later seasons?
Which
that
you
reminded me of
cannot
that.
find a pattern
Nope.
for.
Sadly.
That and Scotty's outfit.
Those
from-
jackets just always don't seem functional to me. It seems like it would be hard to get any work done with a big jacket on like that.
Yeah, but it's TV. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
What work does the captain do? He sits in
Well,
the
I
chair
mean-
and says, "Make it so," and then
Well,
he
yeah,
goes to his
but
writing room and
everybody
drinks
was
tea.
wearing a jacket type thing, and you would think that the next generation, just the tunic would be more functional for everyday use, and a jacket would be something that you would wear for other occasions or something. I don't.
So you're new to Star Trek, then, right?
Damn, shots fired.
Wow.
They have, with the exception of Enterprise, there has never been a practical uniform.
That's true enough. That's true enough.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
well, you get to the movies as well. The movies were fairly practical. I thought the Maroon Monster. Some people don't like it because of the color or anything like that. It's still my favorite uniform. I like how.
Mine too. I love it.
Yeah,
I would just hate
it's-
to work in it every day.
yeah, that would be tough. But then you get moments like when you see their leather jackets or the suede jackets that they were wearing in some of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or Scotty with his white shirt and his black utility vest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, pretty practical and user friendly. One of these days, they had it on a Novos, but I would never roll the dice on trying to order one from a Novos because they're not good. Their quality is high, but if they send you the order, it takes 5 times as long as it's supposed to.
And you have to mortgage your children to afford them.
Yeah. But when they offered the Wrath of Khan field jacket replica, that's like a $3,000 coat.
I was gonna say that's gotta be
Wow.
up there.
Yeah, it was multiple thousands of dollars for this jacket, but it looked like it just fell out of the screen into the real
Better
world.
for $3,000.
That thing was as accurate as I have ever seen, and I would wear that as my winter coat if I had one.
Yeah. Well,
I would
nothing
wear
could
it
be.
all the time if I could.
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
care if it's
nothing will
90
never
degrees
be as impractical as the uniforms from Motionless Picture. Okay,
I
those
don't know.
those
$3,000.
things
I
were-
don't know if it would ever leave my house.
Yeah, well,
I'd
but
afraid
the
I'd
motion
steal something
picture,
on it.
the motion picture uniforms were the closest to actual what would be used in a because they did a lot of consulting with NASA and Jesko von Puttkamer, who was their science consultant.
yeah, I realize that, but a lot of the actors are saying they couldn't go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah, and they were freaking hideous.
They were skin tight and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, that was yeah.
They were ugly.
Mm.
Well, Star Trek's never had a problem with skin tight clothes. Eh? All right, John's here on the call too, but he says he hasn't seen the trailer yet. So we'll start talking about the Lower Decks episode. So tonight we will be discussing the 9th episode of the 2nd season of Star Trek Lower Decks, which was titled Weege Douche.
Wedge douche or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's douche?
Written by Catherine Lynn, directed by Bob Suarez, and the original air date was October 7th, 2021. Here's the IMDb description. Boimler tries to find a bridge buddy while the USS Cerritos crew has downtime during a long warp trip.
Okay, that's not wrong.
I mean, that is one of the plots. All right. Jim, what'd you think of the episode?
I only just watched it, so I can't really give a full opinion. because literally I just finished it like 15 minutes before we started. So go ahead to somebody else.
All right,
Go ahead.
John, what'd you think of this episode? Okay, he's texting in best ever. All right, Scott, what about you?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice. I thought the moving around to the lower decks of other vessels was a nice little device to not only to share the love with the other races in Star Trek and see how the other ships do it, but then tying all the ships together at the climax of the plot. I thought it was a clever way of doing it. It deepened the connection that I didn't realize they had been doing this so much until we got to this point, but Rutherford and Shax being pals, Tendi and Ta'ana being pals, the captain and Beckett are growing closer. And it was kind of sad to see Boimler having so much trouble finding, another friend besides just his fellow lower deck mates. That was a little unfortunate. And I felt a little bit of pride in that the overall, the overarching plot line of the Packlets throughout the season seems to be doing kind of what I thought it was going to do. So it felt good to see that.
I like they showed the lower decks of the Packlet ship, and they were just like, "I'm hungry.
You should eat."
Red alarm. Red alarm.
Yeah.
Rick, what about you? What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I got a kick out of seeing the other ships. I liked how there were parallels, but they, only to a certain extent, where it was 4 lower decks officers in the same relative arrangement, but beyond that, they didn't slavishly stick to the template of what's on the Cerritos. So I enjoyed that. I loved the Vulcan ship just because of your emotional outbursts are getting out of control.
Oh yeah, that yeah.
She has lost all control.
Yeah.
And I love Klingon stuff. So anytime we go on board a Klingon ship, I'm loving it. I really enjoyed the pink blood, but I was kind of disappointed when they explained it later, or when they referenced it later. Because it was a great little Easter egg if you knew what was going on, and then they referenced it. I was like, when you explain the joke, you take away from it.
Mhm.
I thought that they might have done that because people that are watching that might have never seen Star Trek 6 might have thought, why is that blood supposed to be pink? And then they put a bow on it. Yeah, it's supposed to be pink. We made it pink on purpose. But I enjoyed the episode. I like that the writers are not afraid to step away from their usual format and introduce some new stuff. I like that they show the Klingons and they also sleep in the hallway. We didn't we didn't see the Vulcans in their bunks, I don't think. So I don't know if they sleep in the hallway or not. But we met some new characters, and I think it would have been very easy to just play it off as a gag. These are just characters that aren't going to matter. But I think that at least 2 of the characters that we met, we're going to see again. The Klingon that became the captain of the ship, and I think that Vulcan that got kicked out to go to Starfleet, I think we're going to see both of them at least in the finale, if not on into the next season.
I think the Vulcan's going to be on the Cerritos. I think we're getting her.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that she's it. Well, I don't know about. I think it would not surprise me at all if she becomes a new cast member.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm going to put my dollar down on. I bet you at least at first she comes in wearing T'Pol's outfit.
Oh, no, please no.
I think she would just come in wearing what she was wearing on the Vulcans, or a Starfleet uniform, probably. But
well, maybe not arrive, but at some point appear in a T'Pol outfit.
Or maybe somebody just like holds it up and says, "Here, I've got a uniform for you."
Mhm.
No, I'm not wearing that. when they first introduced the Klingon ship, it was because somebody had just said what the Klingon lower deckers do. Then they show Klingon lower deckers, and then the Klingons mentioned the Vulcans, and they show the Vulcans. I thought we were going to have a Family Guy style rabbit hole where they were going to keep bringing up races, and we were going to keep seeing their lower decks.
Yeah, and I thought it was just going to be a goof. I did not expect at that moment that we were going to be going back to these ships and following them for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, that they were going to be part of the plot. Yeah,
I thought it was well executed.
So because of this format experiment that they did, it did mean that we didn't get as much time with our lower deckers this episode. We did get a pretty fun. I thought that the B plot with Boimler was pretty funny. Going around to the different bridge crew and finding out that they've already got buddies, and seeing Shax completely lose his mind because he mentions Bajor. No, you gotta go. He's not kidding. Go.
his PTSD from the Cardassian occupation was simultaneously hilarious and really kind of disturbing and sad, because you don't realize that there's probably a lot of Bajorans that are actually in that position. Those are the deleted scenes. That's the stuff between episodes that you don't see with Kira, where she's in her quarters, like just
curled up in a ball.
Curled up with her head on Odo's lap, just completely losing her mind.
I did like when he was calming down and said, "I'm gonna make a cute little ashtray and it's gonna look like a puppy."
Sometimes not deleted. Yeah, John.
Yeah. John says sometimes not deleted.
It's not like they never showed the psychological scars that Nerys had from that.
But then they had the whole thing where Boimler gets in with first officer's name.
Why does everyone forget Ransom's name?
I always forget his name, and I've got it written down here somewhere. Anyway, he's with a bunch of people that claim that they're all from Hawaii, and one of them can't be from Hawaii what? Because he's an alien.
You're right.
But then the funniest part of that was the fact that you find out at the end of the story that they were all lying about being from Hawaii, but he still ends up getting ostracized because he's not from a moon.
Right.
But Ransom even he kind of calls himself out, because he says, "Hawaiianers, go to the bridge." If he was from Hawaii, he wouldn't call them Hawaiianers. They would be Hawaiians. I'm totally gonna get a Ritos shirt before long. I'm gonna have my wife make one for me.
I'm glad that you remembered to mention that, because I told myself to bring it up and I had already forgotten.
I was hoping to already have it, but she's got a big order to make some face masks for somebody, so she couldn't do it. So
that was a real clever joke, clever Easter egg that they put in there.
Yep.
The fact that it surprised me when crew members on Discovery had apparel that said disco.
Yeah.
Did they? Oh my God. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, on Discovery they have exercise. They have shirts that they wear when they work out.
Oh, the exercise gear. Yeah, it's
a
disco. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. I was like, wait, when?
But yeah, we mentioned before the pink blood is back, and that made me laugh. But like I said, the one thing in the show that made me laugh out loud was Shax losing his mind over the Bajor statement, and then going back to make a ashtray look like a puppy. That all right. Little bit of trivia for this episode. This is the first episode of the franchise to feature a scene played during the end credits. So that's when we see the lower decks of the Borg ship.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're just all standing there plugged in.
Right.
And I was interested about the opening stingers, because this episode didn't have an opening stinger. Right. And there's been a couple of other episodes this season that didn't have one. And I've noticed that a couple of the ones that do have one, the editing on the stinger is like it just stops and they go to the credits. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily, it doesn't really fade to the credits like you would think it would. And I'm wondering if they made this season without stingers, and then somebody came back and said, no, you got to put stingers on these episodes. So they just take the first scene and put it before the credits, because this one didn't even have one, because they probably couldn't figure out a way to chop that scene and make it work. But
well, if they really wanted a stinger, they could have come up with just a gag to put in there.
Well, not if everything was already in post and they've already had.
Wait a minute. I get the feeling that, considering the fact that they were splitting this episode between a Federation ship, a Klingon ship, a Vulcan ship, and then eventually a little bit on a Pakled ship, there was a lot going on in this episode. So I would think that they needed every spare moment they could get. So lose the stinger, start off with the credits so you can get into the actual show as quickly as possible. And as we saw, even during the end credits, they used that for a joke because they couldn't fit the joke in anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, it was also, I think it was also appropriate at the end, because it was just,
it's just a sight gag. Yeah, it's just a sight gag. So
yeah.
But
I've never watched credits that closely. My eyes were glued to that screen, waiting to see if they were going to put some kind of joke in there. But sure enough, it was just four drones.
Yeah, just standing there
the whole
Just
time.
standing there. Yeah. Okay. John just said, I think it's a choice every time. And much like Lord X, I don't always start my show with a cold open either. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Star Trek's always had a cold open. Until...
but Lower Decks hasn't always had one.
No,
there have been several episodes where they didn't.
But most of them I've noticed this season. I just wondered if it was I don't know if it was just some kind of a thing that they were going to try to do that they had to back off on. But Talin quotes Spock from Star Trek VI, when she says, "Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end," and her headband resembles the one worn by Valeris in that movie.
Yeah.
The captain.
There was some.
Go ahead.
Something the Vulcans did that bothered me, and I don't know if it was a mistake or intentional. Astrogation. Okay, whenever they say lay in a course 213 Mark 6. Okay, the first number refers to a circle on the horizontal plane relative to the ship. The second, the number after the mark refers to a vertical, so your x-axis and your y-axis. Okay, the number should not.
I was told there'd be no math.
The number should not go above 360.
Right.
Because each one is a circle. So, at 360, you go back to 0. The Vulcan said lay in a course 577 Mark 6.
They have different numbers.
They have a different metric system. Yes. Okay.
Those were Vulcan numbers.
Thinking in three dimensions. Oh, only thinking in 3 dimensions. Yeah.
Don says, I wasn't listening, but you're only thinking in 3 dimensions. Did y'all catch the James Horner tribute?
Oh, no. What? No, where?
The music.
This
after...
is during the battle, as in the last moments of the battle before the Packers leave, there was a very Horner-esque Star Trek II riff before they took off, right?
I didn't catch that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It was like almost the Wrath of Khan music, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very close. At 100% designed to make you think back to between the Enterprise and Reliant.
Mm-hmm.
The captain of the Cheval has a meditation lamp and a copy of Krishara in his quarters. I don't know what that's a reference to. I'm just reading it.
The first one I'm not sure, but the second one where they have the Kirshara, that was the pyramid shape.
The game, the Vulcan Jenga Tetris thing.
No, that is Calto.
Oh, right.
The Kirshara was is a pyramid shaped like a stone item. It's what Archer found on Vulcan in the forge that had the writings of Surak.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Dr. Ta'ana's rock climbing holodeck program is reminiscent of Kirk climbing El Capitan in Star Trek V, as are
I did catch
Boimler's
that. Yeah.
Go Climb a Rock t-shirt and hover boots.
Yep. That was
that was not subtle at all.
Yeah, I like that the hover boots cut out on him and he fell. So.
Right.
Are you sure the safety What are
Protocols.
the
Protocol,
safety
yeah.
protocols are on, right?
Yeah, I
sure,
guess. Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know.
I love Ta'ana so much.
And speaking of Rick loving Ta'ana, I'm pretty sure this is the first episode where they didn't have to beep out a curse word from her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say, I love the concept of punitive spiritualism.
Yeah, yes. Oh, I just looked at the chat. We'll back up a second. John says, I didn't know Horner, but I caught the musical reference. Horner is James Horner, the composer of the soundtrack and the score for Star Trek 2.
And
I think
Terminator.
Oh, no, he's
Well,
done a
and
lot of
Aliens.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, many movies, but we're talking Star
Yeah,
Trek.
but
so.
I like Horner's work, and
Yeah, and
he's
he
like
passed
second
away
to John
recently.
Williams.
Yeah, he
What?
passed away recently. Yeah.
Yeah,
did?
he died in a plane crash a couple years ago.
Oh shit.
Titanic was him.
Mhm.
Braveheart
Field of Dreams
was
was him. Yeah.
Willow was him.
Yep.
I think Rocketeer might have been him too.
I think so. Yeah.
He's good. I like him personally. I like him better than John Williams. I like to listen to his work more than I like listening to John Williams' work. John Williams' work is great with movies. I will watch a movie where it's playing John Williams music. That's cool. But if I'm just gonna like put it on my phone and just listen to it, Horner's the best.
Dorg quotes from William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, which is the same line, along with many other lines from Shakespeare that's quoted by General Chang in Star Trek.
And
6.
Chang, yes, I caught that too.
Did you catch the dude in the Elizabethan dress during the everybody running around in a panic scene?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
I did see that. I was like, what the?
I saw the dress and I didn't pay attention. And my wife started laughing. I'm like, what? She goes, that's the guy in the dress. So the second time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, it is.
Ma'a mentions that other Klingons have tried to destroy the peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, as previously seen with the House of Duras and General Chang. Assuming that the end scene with Cube 90182, when it popped up, I thought it said 90210. Cube number 90210 is said at the same time as the rest of the episode, then this would be the first on-screen portrayal of an operational Borg cube in any setting subsequent to the Voyager finale Endgame, through the submatrix collapse of the though the submatrix collapse of the artifact would have occurred after Endgame as well.
Okay, I've got a question.
That's it.
During the final scene in the mess hall, the bartender is kind of hiding behind the bar, watching Boimler.
I didn't notice that.
And I don't know if they're trying to set up something with that, or if it was just some weird background business.
Is it the same bartender from that other episode where he talks like the guy from Pet Sematary?
No, this was a female alien that I don't recognize her species. She's got kind of weird markings on her face, but she was like standing behind the bar and then sort of started sinking down until she was just looking up over the bar, and then when Boimler came over, she stood up again and took his order.
No, I didn't notice that. To go back
Did
and
not
check that
notice.
out. Yeah. Maybe she
Hang on.
fancies him.
Maybe.
All
Maybe
right.
she was reaching down to get a glass.
Yeah. All right. We are rapidly approaching the end of this episode. And when it is over, you're going to want to head over to our Patreon page. It is patreon.com/infinite potato. We've got early access to episodes. We've got special movie commentaries. We're going to be recording a Halloween commentary later this month where we'll be watching Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. So you want to check that out. And Patreon is a great way for you to support us. It lets us pay for Zoom. It helps us update our equipment. It helped me get a new webcam for my computer. And you can help us for $3 a month and get all that extra content, or you can come in at the $5 or $10 level and you will get thanked on the show. And you'll be listed as one of our producers, such as Bulent Bengal, Tom Corcoran, Dale Goodall, Brandon Ushio, and Jeff Hughes. So thank you all for the help that you give us every month, because it means a lot. It really helps. All right, guys, thanks for being here.
None of y'all have hit the Rick comes wash your car level yet.
No, not there quite yet. Rick, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Oh, let's see. Where can you find me? You can find me elsewhere on the network here on such shows as Starbase 66 and the Prime Direction and Open the Iris, and occasionally on Captain Game Show, and usually on Cosmic Potato. And I think that's all of them for now.
All right. Jen, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. As always, I'm pretty much where Rick is, except for Open the Iris and Prime Direction. So, yeah.
All right. And Scott, let everybody know where they can find you.
I can be found right here on this show, often on Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast, occasionally on Captain Game Show, on old episodes of the Prime Direction before I handed the reins off to Rick. And I'm currently in production of the first season of my new podcast, I'd Watch That for $1, where I sit down with a guest and review a film that I purchased on DVD or Blu-ray at the local dollar store. I recorded an episode just this afternoon. These are going to be some fun conversations, and hopefully people will enjoy it. If you're tired of listening to me, but you want to see some of my stuff, you can look at some of my graphic artwork available on my website, www.planetrisecreative.com, or you can check me out on Twitter at PlanetRise. And I give props to this episode of Lower Decks for finally acknowledging the fact that it's difficult to control your weight when you can replicate literally any food you want.
I've always thought that replicated food was healthy no matter what it was supposed to be.
But
Do you
that's
think
not
Deanna
funny,
would eat-
Sean.
Do you think Deanna would eat a healthy chocolate sundae?
Good point.
I mean, that's what I've always, because I thought it was like synthahol or whatever, you know, it's made out of the same stuff, no matter which way you configure the molecules. So
they describe it. They always describe it as resequenced protein.
yeah. So I can eat a cheeseburger or I can eat a baked chicken breast, but I'm going to get the same amount of calories either way. So
I that's not how I've always interpreted it, as it's making the thing because it's using transporter technology to take the raw materials and just resequence it into whatever molecular structure you need. So
yeah, there's that view of it, or there's the everything is resequenced protein view, which is the view pushed by, for example, Michael Eddington when he's complaining to Cisco about all these replicator recipes are awful and you don't realize what you're missing until you have the real thing that you grow with your own hands. And shut the hell up, Eddington, you're annoying, you're pompous. It depends on just what the episode wants to get across. When it serves their purposes from the storytelling aspect, it's going to be Eddington's way. When it serves the joke, then they do it Rick's way, when they want to point out that Kayshawn is putting on weight.
yeah, well,
and I'm sure that the Earl Grey hot is not protein.
Mm,
And if
Deanna
anyone-
didn't look like she was eating a chocolate sundae every day, but
And speaking of Kayshawn, if anyone can see in my background, he has taken his rightful place by the
And,
little Kayshawn puppet.
John is with us, but he's backstage and he wants you to know that Captain Game Show is a super fun time and a trivia fun time. So check that out.
mhm.
Captain Game Show. It's on infinitepotato.com. All right. Next week's episode has not been announced yet, but regardless, I mean, the name of the episode hasn't been announced.
Yeah, no, I was just carry on. Ignore it.
Yeah. But we will be here anyway to review it. So join us then. And until then, remember, avoid death and gower.
Put it in the clay, Papa Bear.